So cool. I didn't like my smile, and so I never smiled. And then when you get older, you learn that, oh, wait a second. When you look back at photos, the ones you're smiling in are always the ones you like, but you can't see them in the present. Why is that?
One Tree Hill ended in 2012, but the real drama was just getting started. While fans mourned the series finale, one cast member was trapped in a cult that drained $2 million from her bank account. Another was drinking 2 bottles of wine every night, silently falling apart on set. And the show's creator was accused by 18 women of harassment that went on for years. By 2025, the cast reunited for a Netflix reboot, but the secrets they've been hiding make the fictional drama look tame. Today, we're uncovering what really happened after the lights went out on America's favorite teen drama. Chad Michael Murray. Chad Michael Murray was once the kind of name teenage fans would scream over. But once he left One Tree Hill in 2009, everything began slipping fast. The Hollywood dream started crumbling the minute he walked away from Lucas Scott. The roles dried up. The offers got weird. And by the time people noticed, Chad had vanished from leading roles and sunk into the shadows of holiday movies no one really talks about. In a December 2024 interview, he finally admitted the truth. He almost quit acting altogether. He said, "I couldn't do it anymore." And you could feel how heavy that sentence really was. He'd been pushed into a corner, trapped between the character that made him famous and an industry that had no idea what to do with him once he outgrew it. The big roles never came back. Casting directors didn't see a grown man with range. They still saw the moody teenager from Tree Hill. And Chad could feel it. So he pivoted. He started showing up in Hallmark movies, one after another. Cozy snowfalls, gingerbread towns, romantic misunderstandings, and perfectly predictable endings. In 2022, standing at Christmas Con, he told fans he planned to do them for as long as I can. Not in defeat, but in quiet acceptance. This was his lane now, but it still got weirder. In 2024, Netflix released The Merry Gentleman, a bizarre Christmas stripper movie. And yes, Chad danced shirtless in it. It was hard not to look at that and think, how did we get here? Behind the smiles and press photos, Chad was battling anxiety. Hollywood had forgotten him, but his inner storm never stopped. And then there was the chaos from back when One Tree Hill was still on air. The 5-month marriage to co-star Sophia Bush in 2005, the cheating rumors, and Sophia's failed attempt to get it annulled, claiming fraud. It all played out like a bad tabloid script. The show's producers didn't help either. They promoted the divorce drama for ratings, literally ran ads hinting at it. Fans ate it up. Chad just kept crumbling. By 2025, he's mostly doing B-tier Netflix films and Canadian TV dramas. From teen icon to forgotten footnote, the fall wasn't just sad. It was slow, strange, and brutally real. Hilarie Burton. Hilarie Burton left One Tree Hill the same year as Chad, but her journey went in a very different direction. One that started with silence and ended in thunder. The biggest shock came in late 2017, when she and 17 others publicly accused the show's creator, Mark Schwann, of long-term sexual harassment. Hilarie didn't just accuse, she exposed the system. She said Schwann used her as bait, that he wrote himself into scenes just to force contact with her, that he cornered her on and off set, and no one stopped him. Well, almost no one. In one shocking moment, Chad actually did something. Hilarie said he physically stepped in when he saw Schwann grab her. It happened in a bar, public, loud. And still, it took years before anyone really listened. Schwann was finally fired from the Royals, but the damage was long done. Hilarie had already carried that pain for a decade. Away from the spotlight, she found something real. In 2009, Supernatural star Jensen Ackles set her up on a blind date with Jeffrey Dean Morgan. It worked. Years later, on October 5, 2019, they quietly got married. Today, they live on a 250-acre farm in upstate New York. Chickens, donkeys, llamas. It's not a Hollywood estate. It's a real, breathing life. They have 2 kids. They build things with their hands. And Hilarie found peace in the dirt, not the camera. Still, she couldn't escape One Tree Hill. In 2021, she co-hosted Drama Queens, the podcast that rewatched every episode. Fans loved it, but Hilarie didn't. By July 2024, she walked away, said it was too much, said reliving it all was breaking her down. You could hear the pain in her voice, even when she tried to keep it light. It wasn't just a show anymore, it was a scar. But she came back, not to the podcast, but to the show itself. In late 2024, Netflix announced a sequel to One Tree Hill, and Hilarie signed on as executive producer. Not as an actress, not as the old Peyton, but as the woman in charge. She's building it again, this time with Sophia Bush, the same woman who once stood beside her on set, then through fire, then through healing. Sophia Bush. Sophia Bush was once known to millions as Brooke Davis, the confident, sharp-tongued heart of One Tree Hill. But the girl America fell in love with on screen was hiding a life far more tangled and bruised behind the scenes. When the show ended, the world thought she would ride that fame smoothly into her next chapter. What followed was anything but smooth. In June 2025, she revealed something that silenced even her most vocal critics. For years, she'd endured abuse on set, not during One Tree Hill, but during her time on Chicago PD. She described it as every kind of abusive treatment, pointing to someone old enough to be my father, who made her life a physical hell. That someone, she suggested, turned her workplace into a war zone. The revelation hit like a brick, especially since it followed earlier disclosures about the One Tree Hill set, where she earned less than 20% of what her male co-stars made. She was a lead, but her pay was barely a fraction of theirs. Then came April 2024. Out of nowhere, Sophia Bush came out as queer and confirmed she was in a relationship with former US WNT soccer star Ashlyn Harris. At 39, Harris was already a name in her own right, but together, the two instantly became Hollywood's most talked-about couple. This announcement wasn't just personal. It arrived while Sophia was finalizing her divorce from entrepreneur Grant Hughes. That marriage had barely lasted 13 months. They filed in August 2023, just 16 days after celebrating their first wedding anniversary. Sophia later admitted she felt physically ill while writing their anniversary caption. The picture-perfect post was a lie, one she forced herself to upload before everything crumbled. James Lafferty. James Lafferty, who played Nathan Scott, walked a very different road. When One Tree Hill ended in 2012, Hollywood didn't exactly roll out the red carpet for him. He'd been riding high as the show's golden boy, but once it wrapped, offers dried up fast. People didn't realize that even before the show started, he was so unsure about acting that if the Nathan Scott role hadn't come through, he was ready to quit and go back to college at Long Beach State. That same fear came crawling back post-Oath. Then, in 2018, something strange and beautiful happened. Lafferty reunited with his former co-star Stephen Colletti, and they crowdfunded an indie project called Everyone is Doing Great. It wasn't just a show, it was a mirror. They played fictionalized versions of themselves, two washed-up actors from a teen vampire drama trying to find purpose. The meta nature of the project resonated. Their campaign raised just enough to make a pilot. Most thought that would be the end. But Hulu saw it, picked it up, and released it in December 2020. It was a redemption arc in real time. While the industry saw Lafferty as fading out, he was quietly leveling up. He directed episodes for the Royals on E! Between 2015 and 2018. That gig changed more than just his career. It changed his life. On set, he met Australian actress Alexandra Park. They clicked, then they waited for 7 years. They finally married in 2022. Park joked about how long it took him to propose. By year 9, it had become a running joke between them, but the wedding was no joke. It was intimate, earned, and deeply grounded. By 2025, Lafferty found himself at another crossroads. Season 2 of Everyone is Doing Great was finished, polished, and full of big names like Jamie Chung and Brian Greenberg. But there was one problem. They didn't have a platform yet. The series was in limbo, waiting for a streamer to believe in it again. Meanwhile, James stayed mostly quiet about the rumored One Tree Hill reboot. While others buzzed, he focused on his own path. The kid who once thought about quitting had now become a creator, a director, a husband, and the quiet backbone of a passion project that might just make a second comeback. Bethany Joy Lenz, she was America's sweetheart on screen. But off-screen, Bethany Joy Lenz was fighting a nightmare most fans couldn't have imagined. While playing Haley James Scott from 2003 to 2012 on One Tree Hill, she wasn't just acting in a teen drama. She was also trapped in a real-life cult called the Big House Family. The group was led by a charismatic pastor who preyed on young professionals like her. To the outside world, she was earning over $1 million per year. But behind the scenes, that money was quietly bleeding out. When she finally left the cult and checked her finances in 2024, she expected around $2.4 million. What she found instead was two $20,000. The rest had disappeared into vague projects the cult operated, things like a motel, a restaurant, and a so-called ministry. It was financial abuse, masked as spiritual guidance. The damage wasn't just in her bank account. Her marriage to fellow cult member Michael Galliotti turned into a locked cage. The cult decided who she saw, what jobs she took, and how she raised her daughter, Maria. Even on the One Tree Hill set, she was kept emotionally distant from other cast members. When she left the cult in 2012, the fallout was immediate. She spent the next 3 years in a brutal custody fight, while trying to rebuild a life that had been micromanaged for nearly a decade. Despite starring on a hit series, she had to start again from near zero. By 2025, she's managed to carve out a quieter but steady career in Hallmark films, finding a softer corner of the industry with titles like A Biltmore Christmas and Savoring Paris. Her current net worth hovers somewhere between $1 and $3 million, nowhere near what a 9-season TV star should have earned. But more than money, what defines her new chapter is control. In October 2024, she released her memoir, Dinner for Vampires, life on a cult TV show, while also in an actual cult. A brutally honest account that left many readers stunned. She says she's dating someone wonderful now and is focused on raising her daughter outside the shadows of manipulation. It's not a fairy tale, but it's finally real. Paul Johansson. Paul Johansson, who played Dan Scott, was fighting demons of a different kind. On the surface, he was the villain fans loved to hate, but the man behind the role was unraveling quietly. In December 2023, on a podcast called Trying to Figure It Out, Johansson revealed that he had been battling deep depression and alcoholism for most of the show's run. He said he drank 2 bottles of wine a night, almost every night, for 6 or 7 years. He called it terrible and incredibly difficult. What made it worse, he said, was the lack of support. Nobody on the cast or crew seemed to notice, or care. Then came the scandal in 2015. During an interview at BuzzFeed's office, a reporter accused him of sexual harassment. She said he touched her back repeatedly and made inappropriate remarks like, "I'm sweating like a rapist." His team denied everything. His lawyer called the claims defamatory. His publicist said they were false. But the damage was done. Whatever chance he had of reinventing himself as a director took a hit. His 2011 film, Atlas Shrugged. Part 1 had already flopped hard, pulling just 12% on Rotten Tomatoes, despite being based on a popular book. It was supposed to be his big moment. It wasn't. Still, Johansson didn't disappear. Slowly, without fanfare, he started working again. He appeared in action films like Detective Night, Redemption in 2022, God is a Bullet in 2023, and Bad Hombres in 2024. These weren't blockbuster hits, but they were steady. In 2025, he's still acting, with roles in projects like Marked Men, Rule and Shaw. He posts often on social media, seems more open, and isn't hiding behind the character of Dan Scott anymore. The darkness is still there, but now it walks beside him instead of swallowing him whole. Lee Norris. Lee Norris once lit up the screen as Mouth McFadden, the bright-eyed, earnest sports commentator from One Tree Hill. For fans, he was the soul of honesty in a show filled with drama. But after decades in front of the camera, Lee chose a path that no one expected. Starting his acting career at just 6 years old, he was a TV regular from 1991 to 2021. 30 years. Then, he quietly walked away. It didn't happen all at once. In October 2019, he joined Pride Productions in Raleigh, North Carolina, as their first development executive. He wasn't just acting anymore, he was helping develop films behind the scenes. But just 6 months later, that chapter closed in March 2020. And then came the real curveball. He pivoted fully away from Hollywood. By November 2021, Lee had accepted a role back at Wake Forest University, the very place where he earned his degree years earlier. Most fans didn't even know that during the filming of One Tree Hill's first season, Lee was attending his senior year at Wake Forest. His professors adjusted class schedules around his filming commitments so he could graduate on time. The man who played a college student on TV was also grinding to be one in real life. Fast forward to July 2025. Lee is now the Senior Associate Director of Philanthropy and Donor Engagement at Wake Forest. He's no longer chasing scripts, he's chasing donations. He meets with wealthy alumni, pitches for support, and hosts fundraising galas. He's still using his voice, but now it's to build legacies, not ratings. Hollywood is behind him. North Carolina is home. It's a life built on quiet impact, far from the lights, but just as meaningful. Antoine Tanner, known to fans as Skills Taylor, his post-show journey was anything but smooth. At first, everything looked fine, but in April 2009, headlines exploded. Federal agents arrested him for selling 16 Social Security numbers and 3 fake cards to undercover agents. The deal was for just $10,000, but the fallout was massive. His $1 million home in California had already gone into foreclosure, and his lawyer blamed it all on desperation and what he called stupidity. The court didn't go easy. On January 14, 2010, Antoine was sentenced to 3 months in prison and 5 months of home detention. He later admitted the whole ordeal was humiliating. In a podcast interview from 2025, he revealed something that stunned listeners. He wasn't trying to run a scam for profit. He said he was helping friends in the entertainment world get credit and got caught up in something bigger than he understood. According to him, the government had been watching him for 5 years, even calling him so highly sophisticated that it made them doubt their own case. Robert Buckley, After One Tree Hill ended in 2012, Robert Buckley didn't slow down. Just 3 years later, in 2015, he signed on to play Major Lillywhite in iZombie, a CW series that threw him into one of the strangest character arcs TV had seen in years. He started off human, became a zombie, got cured, then went back to being a zombie. But it didn't stop there. By season 2, he was leading a zombie paramilitary group called Fillmore Graves. The role kept evolving in completely unexpected directions and ended up spanning 5 seasons, making it the longest show he stuck with after Oathith. Then came May 2018, and Buckley surprised everyone again. No big wedding photos, no magazine exclusives, just a selfie posted on Twitter. His face was covered in chocolate cake, and the caption read, "Post-cake fight with Borat voice, my weef." That was how the world found out he'd secretly married actress Jenny Wade. They'd kept everything private. No leaks, no rumors. Now they have 2 kids and celebrated their 5th anniversary in 2023. But the biggest twist in his career came in 2020. Out of nowhere, Buckley became the Hallmark Channel's poster boy. His film, The Christmas House, made Hallmark history. It was the first to include a married gay couple with a proper storyline and a same-sex kiss. It wasn't just some background detail, it was central to the plot. The Smithsonian even reached out to get the film's wardrobe and props for their LGBTQ+ collection. Buckley didn't just act in it, he pitched the story, wrote the script, and produced it. It did so well that Hallmark instantly greenlit a sequel. By 2025, Buckley is basically the king of Hallmark Christmas movies. He's led hits like An Unexpected Valentine, Blind Date Book Club, and Merry Christmas, Ted Cooper. He also joined the Drama Queens podcast alongside his old One Tree Hill co-stars and attended a major reunion in Paris where fans finally got a new group photo. At 44, he's turned his brooding heartthrob image into something entirely new. America's most beloved romantic lead on Hallmark. Tyler Hilton. Tyler Hilton's story took a wild turn no one saw coming. In 2024, during a random TikTok livestream, he dropped a bombshell. He said he was once dumped by a cult. The story goes back to when he and Bethany Joy Lenz, his One Tree Hill co-star, actually started dating in real life during season 2. Their chemistry was so strong that writers started building it into the show. But behind the scenes, Lenz was part of a secretive religious group. One day, members of that group came to one of Hilton's concerts to evaluate him. Their final decision? The cult said no. That's how Hilton found out the relationship was over. He said, "I had never been dumped by a cult before." That was a first. Lenz later opened up about it in her 2024 memoir, Dinner for Vampires, revealing how deeply involved she had been with that group for over 10 years. The relationship, according to Hilton, didn't end because of fights or distance. It ended because a group of strangers behind closed doors decided he didn't make the cut. Fast forward to 2025, Hilton is touring like never before. His Celebrating the Music of One Tree Hill tour has 23 international stops, already announced for 2026. The show's fan base has stayed loyal, and he's turned that loyalty into a full-blown business. On the personal side, he married director Megan Park back in 2015, and they welcomed their daughter Winnie in 2019. His 2019 album, City on Fire, included songs co-written with Charles Kelly from Lady Antebellum, and some of the tracks were featured on hit shows like Shameless. Barbara Alyn Woods. Barbara Alyn Woods was once just Deb Scott from One Tree Hill, the sharp, stylish mother with a complicated past. But after the show ended in 2012, her real life turned out to be even more dramatic than her TV storylines. Her long marriage, 22 years, to assistant director John Lind, fell apart in 2021. They had 3 daughters together, all of whom would go on to become rising stars in Hollywood. It looked like Barbara's story might slowly fade from the spotlight, until it took a wild turn. In October 2024, people were stunned when she began dating Mark Anderson, a former contestant from The Golden Bachelorette. He didn't win the heart of the show's lead, Joan Vassos, but he won Barbara's after she saw him on TV. They met at a Halloween costume party, and what started as a flirty moment turned into a long-distance romance between California and Louisiana. It didn't stay long-distance for long. Just 10 months later, in August 2025, Mark proposed. Barbara, now 63, was suddenly in the headlines again, this time for a whirlwind romance no one saw coming. At the same time, Barbara was reinventing herself in one of the least expected places, the horror genre. From 2021 to 2024, she played Mayor Michelle Cross on the sci-fi series Chucky. But the real twist? She starred opposite her own daughter, Olivia Aylen Lind, who played Lexi Cross, her daughter on the show as well. Barbara later called the experience absolutely amazing and said it brought them closer in a way nothing else could. All 3 of her daughters were now working actresses. Natalie had a key role in The Gifted. Emily led the reboot of Gossip Girl, and Olivia was already a Netflix regular. And back when One Tree Hill was being cast, Barbara had almost turned it down. On a podcast in 2025, she revealed Deb Scott was only supposed to appear for 3 episodes. At the time, she had to choose between One Tree Hill and another LA show. And she gambled on Tree Hill. That gamble turned into the role of a lifetime. Austin Nichols. Austin Nichols, who played Julian Baker, took a very different post-show path, one marked by controversy, heartbreak, and an unexpected comeback. In April 2025, on the Drama Queens podcast, he made a confession that sent shockwaves. Back in 2001, during the filming of Holiday in the Sun, he had kissed 15-year-old Mary-Kate Olsen. He was 20 or 21 at the time, and admitted it felt wrong. He said he brought it up with the producers and even Olsen's father, asking if it was really okay. Everyone said yes, but Austin never felt good about it. Looking back, he said it made him anxious and weirded out. His personal life wasn't any less complicated. He dated his One Tree Hill co-star Sophia Bush on and off for 6 years. But it all ended in 2012. Insiders said she didn't think he was the one and ended it. That breakup hit harder than fans expected, especially since the show's creator had once promised that their characters would never fall in love on screen. Instead, they did exactly that and got married on the show, mirroring their real-life romance even as it unraveled. Career-wise, Austin seemed to drift through smaller roles until 2024, when he made a serious comeback in Tyler Perry's The 688. He played Colonel Collins in the Netflix war drama, which became Perry's most-watched movie ever, pulling in 52.4 million views in just 4 weeks. It charted in the top 10 across 85 countries, putting Austin back in the spotlight at 45 years old. And he's not done. In July 2025, he confirmed that talks for a One Tree Hill reboot with Netflix are very real. Scripts are being written, and the project is moving forward. He said the reboot is in a really good place, and he'd absolutely love to return as Julian. For someone whose career once seemed on pause, he's now back in the game and ready to step into the past all over again, with new stories to tell. Shantel Van Santen. Shantel Van Santen, fresh off her success as Quinn James in One Tree Hill, was rising fast. After wrapping up the teen drama, she didn't just fade into the background like so many others. Instead, she carved out a serious television career. She appeared in The Boys, became a key player in For All Mankind, and then, by 2024, she was a full-time regular in FBI, Most Wanted. Everything seemed like it was falling into place, but behind the cameras, her life was spiraling into one of Hollywood's most bizarre divorce stories. Shantel met actor Victor Webster in 2016 while filming Love Blossoms. It looked like something pulled straight out of a Hallmark movie. They were glowing together, both rising stars. By 2021, they went all in with not one, not two, but 3 separate weddings. It was a statement, one meant to show the world that this was forever. But by January 2023, just 15 months in, it was over. The divorce was more than just heartbreaking. It was surreal. One clause in their 2024 settlement forced Shantel to pay Victor $10,000 for every day she kept their dog Nova past a 3-week limit. It didn't stop there. Their 2 cats were placed under the custody of Victor's brother. Yes, even the cats had legal destinations. The public found it hard to believe. Just 2 years earlier, her Instagram had been filled with long paragraphs about soulmates and forever. Now, tabloids were flooded with leaked legal documents and whispers of behind-the-scenes tension. No one got spousal support, but Shantel still had to pay $25,000 extra to balance out their financial split. Fans who had rooted for her love story were left speechless. What happened between forever and we're done? And while her personal life was unraveling, her career didn't flinch. In 2025, at age 40, she's still standing tall. Not only did she return as Becca Butcher in The Boys, haunting Carl Urban's character with hallucinations from a brain tumor, she's held her ground as a cornerstone in the FBI franchise. She isn't dating. She isn't trying to put on a show for anyone anymore. It's all about the work. The spotlight's still on her, but now it's because of what she's doing on screen, not off. Jana Kramer played Alex Dupre from 2009 to 2012, and after leaving the show, her life looked like it was headed toward peace. In 2015, she married Mike Causson, a former NFL tight end. But what started with a spark quickly turned into a house fire. Just a month into their relationship, the betrayals began. Over the next 6 years, he cheated on her with more than 13 women. Some affairs happened while she was pregnant with their daughter Jolie. She didn't know the full scale of it until much later. When she did, everything exploded. In 2021, she snapped. She didn't just leave, she tore the house apart. A custom pantry door that Causson designed, smashed with a bat. Every single one of his gaming systems, gone. She laughed later about how crazy she went, admitting she shattered a lot of things. It was destruction, yes, but it was also release. The financial hit stung even more. There was no prenup. Kramer, the one with the bigger income, ended up losing nearly half of what she had. She was the main provider. Still, the court ordered her to pay $3,200 in monthly child support while keeping primary custody of the kids. It was like being robbed after surviving a hurricane, but Jana didn't stop there. In 2022, her Instagram DMs took a surprising turn when she connected with Scottish soccer coach Alan Russell. Their relationship moved fast. They secretly married at a courthouse in January 2024. 7 months later, they held a public wedding in Scotland. Their son, Roman, was born in November 2023. In 2025, she's still in the spotlight, but now it's for her podcast, Wind Down. She doesn't hold back. Her episodes are blunt, raw, sometimes reckless, and that's why people listen. Every week, there's a new headline. She keeps teasing that she'd love to bring back Alex Dupre if Netflix goes through with its One Tree Hill reboot. And if Sophia Bush and Hilarie Burton are on board, she's ready to jump in.